everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on the mayor of Antifa, Ted Wheeler. Furious mayor of Portland accuses protesters of attempted murder for setting fire to a police precinct with officers still inside as violent demonstrations flare up again following the withdrawal of Trump's federal agents. This is the Daily Mail in the UK, so it's only so accurate. The withdrawal of the federal agents never happened. The federal agents are still there. They just aren't going out anymore. They're staying in the courthouse, and the courthouse isn't being attacked, so they have no reason to be out on the streets of Portland. Meanwhile, the rest of Portland is being torn apart by Antifa. Come here, Joe. Come here. Don't growl through the video, okay? I'm very angry. Joan senses my anger. But Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler on Thursday decried the unrest that has roiled the city for 71 straight nights. Wheeler condemned the protesters for setting fire to a precinct a night earlier while officers were still inside. "You are not demonstrating, you are attempting to commit murder," he said. Went on to say the violent protesters would be used as a prop for President Trump's re-election campaign. Yep. His comments come after he joined protesters on the street of downtown Portland as recently as last month. Yep. Wheeler, you're a moron, but I'm going to give you some advice. God, there's so many ads on the Daily Mail. Since you're finally coming to life here, here's another quote. "When you commit arson with an accelerant in an attempt to burn down a building that is occupied by people you have intentionally trapped inside, you are not demonstrating, you are attempting to commit murder," Wheeler said. "I believe the city staff could have died that last night. I cannot and will not tolerate that. This is not peaceful protest. This is not advocacy to advance reform." Well, glad you're waking up, Antifa, mayor of Antifa. It's time. And Wheeler, you let this go on too long, so now you got to take extreme measures. First off, forget about your political career. It's over. You're done. You're never going to get reelected, even if you get a lid back. Actually, your only shot is to put the lid back on this genie. Good luck doing that. But the first thing you got to do. Oh, there he is. That's Wheeler. Now look at him. He's all nicely dressed, got a haircut. Before he was wearing I think he was wearing like a bike helmet and a hoodie, and it kind of looked like Antifa. First off, you can't identify with these people, Wheeler. First off, you're too old, and you're in the government. They hate you. They actually hate you. I know you think because you're a liberal and a lefty, they secretly like you. They don't. They call you Tear Gas Ted, and they hate you. They want you gone. They don't think you're left enough. You couldn't possibly be left enough. The only way you could be left enough is if you proclaimed a communist revolution in the middle of Portland, seceded from the state, and started redistributing the wealth. And you can't do that without being thrown in prison. And since I assume you're not a total communist yet, you've finally woken up here to the violence and what would actually happen to you if you did that, you have to put a lid on this stuff. So here's what you have to do. You have to bite the bullet and say, Trump, send in the National Guard. I want the city locked down. Now, it's going to be nasty because you let it go on too long. But if you do it within a week, you'll have control of the city again. And most of those Antifa idiots are the ones that aren't captured and thrown in prison, which they should be. They will flee to Seattle or somewhere else. Now, you also need to address your prosecutors and your staff. Now, I don't know how much power you have under the city charter there. I know you have a lot of power over the cops, but the problem is everybody's being let go. The judges and prosecutors just cut everybody loose who you arrest. So you need to have a powwow with them and tell them you don't want anybody let go anymore, that you actually want to put these guys in jail. Now, if you can't do that, or if you try to do that and they just laugh at you and say, ha ha, we're not doing that. F you, you fascist, which is possible because there's so many lefties in your stupid government. What you'll then have to do is go to Trump again and say, listen, I can't get the cooperation I need here. So I want you to take all the arrest. And you tell the feds you're willing to give everybody to them. Just hand all those protesters over on a silver platter to them. Now, you might not be able to get them all because local residents will be tougher to prosecute. They have to cross a state line or they have to commit a federal crime. I don't think felony riot is a federal crime. However, I do believe damaging a police car is now considered a felony and a federal crime in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, because I think they changed that law. But I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me on that. So that's what you need to do. And barring that, you need to go to the cops, cut them loose, and say, listen, we need to get these people on crimes that they'll actually be put in jail for. And then you want to focus on those crimes that are riot related, right? So if it requires that they assault an officer or, I don't know, do so much damage or whatever, those are the people you want to go after. And you want to go after them hard, and you want to make sure they don't get let out of prison. And barring all that, you want to cut your cops loose, say, listen, I'm going to back you now. I'm sorry, I'm an F up, but we need to put all these people in jail. So just start putting them in jail. Just start arresting them over and over again. Let them get charge after charge after charge. So some kid wants to keep rioting and come back night after night, you just keep throwing them back in jail. Let them cut the kid loose again and again and again. Make him go to court 5 times. Because his parents or he will finally run out of money, the judge will finally run out of patience, and they'll actually put the kid in prison. Eventually. Unless your judges are just totally useless and communist at this point. I don't know. You have to do this. You have to put these rioters in jail, especially the ones who have gone to the suburbs. If you don't, there's going to be shootings. These protesters that you're so precious with, they're going to get killed. They're going to get themselves killed because they're idiots. I don't know if you saw this video. There's a video going around. It was done by a guy who followed the Antifa rules for shooting Antifa, and he shot a mini documentary, and he still managed to make Antifa look bad, which was pretty amazing. You know, some of these people in the riots, they're just idiots. They just need a reality check, Ted. They need this. So perhaps you could impress upon your prosecution and your local judges, listen, either these kids go to jail for 30 days here near their house and maybe wake up from their ridiculous behavior, or I have to throw them to the feds where they'll do 5 years and have a hard criminal record for the rest of their lives. Which do you think is better? These kids need a wake-up call. They're out of control. They're burning buildings. They're this close to just dragging people into the streets and killing them. They've come very close. And a couple of times they've shot people in other states. I don't know about Portland. I don't think anybody's been killed in Portland yet. But they've certainly been killed in Seattle. And that's what you're going to have on your hands. Better these kids go to jail than die. At least 5 years from now when they get out of jail, even if it's prison, they could maybe put their lives back together. Maybe they'll finally see the light and go, holy crap, what was I doing? But you have to take control of the city again, Ted. You're the only one that can do it. And you're not going to be reelected. I wouldn't count on it. Or maybe you will if you get the city back in order. Maybe you have a chance of avoiding becoming Detroit number 3 or 4 or however many there's going to be. Because I'll tell you right now, de Blasio will be lucky if he doesn't go to jail at this point for the criminal stuff I think he's done to that city, to New York. He's certainly going to bankrupt it. You are certainly on the verge of bankrupting the damn city. How the hell can you run a city when every day there are rioting mobs of morons running around, harassing people at their homes, throwing bricks, burning buildings? This can't go on. You have to stop it. And if you have to ask Donald Trump for his help, ask him. They think you're a fascist anyway. They think you're tear gas Ted. It doesn't matter anymore. They're not going to help you. This isn't going to help your reelection. this is only going to help Donald Trump. It's going to help him either way. It's too late now. You might as well get the city back under control. Maybe you could convince people, well, you know, I let it go on too long, but in the end, I pulled it back together and I prevented us from completely going down the tubes. Otherwise, you might as well just resign and get the hell out of there before they come after you. You live in the city. They already sort of came after you once. They put the Chaz right in front of your house. They have no respect for you. And it's just a matter of time before they cross another line and start killing people. They've already done pretty close to that. Put him in jail, Ted. It's time. If you don't, the feds are going to do it anyway. Whether it takes, you know, you only got a few months. In a few months, this is all over. Trump will be reelected, and then he'll do it, regardless of whether you say yay or nay.